Things got serious the day I installed surveillance cameras. That night, after I kissed my wife Deanna goodnight, I retired to my home office to edit a video for YouTube. Just after 1 a.m., a high-pitched shriek fills the house and jolts me out of my chair. I immediately run to Deanna towards the scream. As I dash down the hall, I'm hoping she is just having night terrors. Later, when I watched the surveillance video, I saw something different. I saw something pulling her leg. Intently I watch, waiting for it to happen again. I see the gentle rise and fall of Deanna's breaths as she sleeps soundly. She tosses and turns a bit, but nothing out of the ordinary. She snuggles into our waterbed with her right leg hooked around the comforter, exposing her foot. Suddenly, her leg kicks as if it were yanked. She's startled, but she tries to fall back to sleep. Our surveillance cameras have audio, so I could hear her grumble. "Vince, don't pull my leg. I'm just trying to sleep." I must admit, messing with her is something I regularly do, but not that night. Moments later, Deanna is forcibly pulled to the end of the bed. Jarred awake, she clings to the sheets trying to fight it off. It lets go. Freeing her to scurry back to the headboard, she gasps and balls her limbs around her body like a child. She scans the room, attempting to make sense of what just occurred. Gaining a presence of mind, she creeps towards the foot of the bed to investigate. Slowly, she approaches the edge, grasping a fistful of the comforter for safety. She peers over but sees nothing. Relieved, Deanna rubs her face as she reassesses the room. She turns to my side of the bed and gulps. It must be there. Cautiously, she peeks over that edge, but again finds nothing and breathes a sigh of relief. As she lingers over my side, the bedroom door behind her creaks. She turns and sees the door closing. Quickly, she sits up to glare at it. The door moves again. In a panic, with revved up breaths, she calls for me. A hushed gasp at first, until she builds up the nerve to scream, "Vince!" I fly out of my chair, blaze past the dogs and down the hall. Deanna shields her face in fear as I rush in, spouting out a million, What? What's? I kneel at her side and grab for her. She jumps. Voice crackling, she mutters, "Do you see it?" She drops the covers a bit to peek. "See what?" I asked. "There's something behind the door." Fixated, she whispers, "It's shadows right there." I look over my shoulder, but I see nothing. Then, chillingly, Deanna cries, "She's looking right at us." Her words causing my hair follicles to rise, even though I still don't see a thing. I stand up to approach the door. Deanna begs for me not to. I proceed, not knowing what she expects of me instead. Once at the door, a cold draft flows over my body and I realize the door movement must be from an open window breeze. I look back to Deanna. She exclaims, "Oh my God, she's right behind you." Frozen, I slowly turn. Then, with a sudden whoosh, the door slams. Deanna screams. Before I go any further, I should rewind a bit to a simpler time. A time before the security cameras were installed, because the story doesn't start or end here. My name is Vince Roca. I'm 46 years old. I have hippie shoulder length, nearly black hair, and brown almond eyes. I also rock an awesome goatee. I'm in decent shape, but I could stand to lay off the donuts. My wife Deanna is 6 months older than me, but is often mistaken for a much younger age. She has long brown hair and brown eyes. She is tall and leggy, with a slim build, and tries to work out 6 nights a week. I'm a realty television editor. I routinely mold piles of mundane footage into fun entertainment. I can assure you that reality TV is not fake. Sure, the story is sometimes guided, but it is definitely real. In general, people naturally do front a hyper-realized versions of themselves for the cameras, but even with the best, guided, most sensational character, it can often take 10 hours of footage to produce a good 3-minute segment. Deanna is a registered veterinarian technician at the Los Angeles Zoo. Her duties involve everything from anesthesia to x-rays. She has done it all, from darting tigers to elephant trunk washes. Her favorite task is caring for the hospitalized animals. Be it a harbor seal or a vulture, she prides herself on finding ways to make their stay enjoyable. We met in the 8th grade. I vividly recall the moment I first saw this stunning brunette. The leaves were turning in the warm autumn sun at our California junior high school. She crossed the quad in a pink town and country shirt as her long, tan legs jutted out from under a white miniskirt. I wish I could say I locked this down immediately, but we didn't start dating until 2 years later at the age of 16. We have since been inseparable and are blessed to celebrate 30 years together, with 21 of those as husband and wife. I've heard people describe Deanna as shy, reserved, and quiet. However, she's always game to ham it up in the silly videos we post on the internet. I, on the other hand, am often described as outspoken, boisterous, and loud. You could say opposites attract, but I really think we're the same person. We live in Granada Hills, California. It's a lovely suburban community adjacent to Northridge, which became famous in 1994 as the epicenter of a 6.7 magnitude earthquake. In 2009, we purchased an awesome 2,700 square foot, 3-bedroom, 3-bath home that was originally built in 1965. The house was a bank repossession and sat empty for nearly a year as the previous owners had succumbed to the subprime mortgage collapse. Because of that recession, we were able to afford this huge house that even includes a den/game room. The house sits on a hill with neighbors on each side and government land behind it. Bordering that land and us in a ravine with the dry Los Angeles River at the bottom. The large property includes a pool and a 6-car parking lot, all nestled behind a 16-foot tall gate. We are kidless, sans for the 2 fur babies, which probably lends to our low-stress, youthful spirits. At the very least, being without kids definitely gives us the freedom to travel the globe and enjoy our vacations. Back in 2014, I started editing our vacation videos as if they were reality TV shows and posted them to YouTube. This was before vlogs were commonplace, but looking back, that's exactly what these were. Travel vlogs. For those not up to the term, a vlog is a video log. Much like a blog is written weblog. As time went on, we traveled more and uploaded more. Shooting everything became routine. I point this out so you understand that it's not unusual for me to always be filming. We started a little home improvement project. A project that would eventually turn out to have dire consequences on our relationship. The whole front of our house is brick, but under our bedroom window is a weird wood accent. The wood looks like a headboard surrounded by molded wood trim. I assume this exists because a patio door was an option when the house was first built. Today, we're going to exercise that option and install a French door. Deanna enjoys smashing the glass into pieces. She even takes charge of the sledgehammer to blast holes between the studs so we can get our hands in to leverage the drywall out. I happily run the camcorder as she pounds and sweats. One particular opening catches her eye. She peers into the wall and declares, "There's something in there." She quickly reaches in and pulls out a little wooden box. I snatch the box from her and hear a rattle inside. There doesn't seem to be a hinge or an opening. It appears to be two pieces of wood magically joined together by triangular teeth. The box measures about 2 inches square and 1 inch thick with a religious cross chiseled into the lid. Deanna immediately identifies it as a puzzle box, then declares, "I think you're supposed to give it a whack." I figure she's joking, so I hand her the box. She takes a moment to inspect it, then, with a whack, she slides the box open. Frankly, the box alone blows my mind. There is a metal ball that engages a magnet and binds the box closed. Take a whack at it, and the ball shifts to another magnet, allowing you to slide the box open. It's pretty ingenious. More exciting than the box is the contents. Deanna joyfully inspects a shiny silver necklace with an angled cross charm dangling from it. The cross is unlike a normal cross, but it isn't a sinister upside-down cross either. It hangs at a tilt, almost like an idolized lowercase t. Deanna immediately exclaims, "It's a portate cross." My head rattles. What the hell is a portate cross? A portate cross is a wooden cross that the accused drags over their shoulder to the crucifixion site. As you watch the accused drag this cross, it is at an angle, or portate. I'm literally taken aback. I don't know why she knows that. I don't know how she knows how to open the box. I look to her for answers. She smiles coyly at my bewilderment and seems pleased with herself. I take a closer look at the cross. The necklace looks well made and could possibly be white gold. I wonder aloud if the cross could pay for our renovation. Deanna scoffs at this notion. I roll my eyes as if she knows everything. She snatches the treasure out of my hands and walks off with it. I ended up making 2 vlogs out of the renovation. "11 months have passed. The year was good, but nothing too remarkable happened. I spent most of my time editing back-to-back TV shows. We did manage to take a quick trip to Florida for a veterinarian conference. I was able to eke out a single vlog from that trip on Gatorland. Over the next few months, I cranked out a few daily vlogs and how-to videos, but I stalled around May and spent my summer hanging out with Deanna, fluting around our pool. I came across that wooden box. It had fallen behind some shoes in the back of our closet. I took both the cross and the box to a pawn shop for appraisal. The shop clerk confirmed that Deanna is right. It ain't white gold. The guy identified the box as an impossible dovetail puzzle box. Apparently, it's a pretty common puzzle, but Deanna has never been the puzzle type, so I still don't know how she knows its secrets. Tonight, while eating dinner, Deanna recounts the events of her day. I look down at the chest and see the portate cross around her neck. I ask, "What's with that?" sparking a religious debate. Now might be a good time to mention that we're both atheists, or at least I thought we both were. I should also clarify, as there is often judgment when I say I'm an atheist. I don't worship the devil and I don't hate God. I just don't believe in either God or the devil for that matter. I also don't believe in ghosts, goblins, or spirits. None of that stuff. I have nothing to fear. I sleep soundly at night. Have you ever noticed that the devil only attacks the God-fearing folk? I've never heard of an atheist being haunted. I don't have anything against those who subscribe to religion, but if you believe in one, you fear the other, and that fear is what gets you. If you don't believe, there is nothing to hurt you, so you're safe, and you've got nothing to fear. Anyway, I find it odd that Deanna, whom I've known my entire life, is wearing a trinket that epitomizes religion. Her defense is, I think it's nice. So I guess what harm could it do? As the night sets in, I leave Deanna home alone while I venture out to a filmmaking mixer. I go to a couple of these a month. Some are educational events about new technologies, others are just drinks and chats. Tonight's event is the drinking kind. At tonight's mixer, I meet Christina. She's an attractive 24-year-old Hispanic girl who is a fan of my vlog and an aspiring assistant editor. Assistant editor types tend to be introverted, dorky by the numbers of nerd. Add booze and they can be very unique. Christina is just that, dorky and tipsy. We immediately hit it off. I mean, she is a fan of my vlog, and I tend to like people who like me because obviously they have great taste. Back at home, Deanna isn't having as much fun. She wakes up from a nap on the living room couch to the sounds of whispers coming from the kitchen. Frightened, she flips on her phone, camera video light, and proceeds to investigate. Slowly, she tiptoes across the dining room as the whispers increase in volume. She can see through the dark kitchen and into the game room on the other side. The dim moonlight illuminates something in the doorway. She can barely make it out, then it becomes clear. On the other side of the kitchen, in our game room, stands the silhouette of a person swaying in the dark. Startled, Deanna flicks on the light and it disappears. Unnerved, she turns on the light in the house and double checks to ensure the security alarm is set. It is armed and shows no faults. Realizing she has succumbed to an overactive imagination, she makes an attempt to vlog in the kitchen while she prepares some comfort food. She removes a bowl from the cabinet and turns back towards the camera to pour in cereal. Behind her, the cabinet drifts open and a cup falls out, plummets to the ground, and shatters. Our cupboards have magnetic closers because 50-year-old cabinets have weak hinges that tend to drift open. In addition, Deanna often double stacks the coffee cups in an unstable manner. We both assumed this combo led to the broken cup. But now when I look back at the footage, it clearly looks like the cabinet door is completely closed with the magnet engaged. The door then pops open on its own, and the cup doesn't fall out, but flies out, almost like it's thrown. Startled, Deanna laughs off the broken cup. She acknowledges for the vlog audience that it is probably from double stacking the cups. She sweeps up the shards of ceramic and takes them out back to the trash. She even vlogs the whole adventure. As she approaches the trash bins, she freezes and turns towards the pool, straining to listen. She turns back, then to the pool again. Blood drains from her cheeks out of nowhere with a sudden burst. She runs back to the house. She trips and falls. Her phone camera goes black as it flies through the night air, then slides across the pavement before coming to a dead stop. The phone picks up her distant whimper as she repeats, "Oh my toe, oh my toe." She comes into view, hovering over the camera, and reaches out to pick it up. The phone is still recording and shows glimpses of her foot as she limps. Her right big toe is messed up pretty bad. I mentioned before that Deanna is an animal nurse. Her primary job is at the zoo, but sometimes she is needed in the field for freelance clients. Because of this, she has a toolbox of stuff at home, which consists of various drugs, medicine, and needles. I could have never done this, but Deanna possesses the courage that puts me to shame. She draws up a syringe of lidocaine and shoots it into her toe to numb it. She even vlogs the whole thing. She actually films a massive 3-inch needle as she stabs it into her foot. 3 inches. I asked why the needle was so big. She says she had a surplus of them and didn't want to waste a smaller needle in case she needed one for an animal injection. Bless her heart. Her toe is mangled, she's in pain, and she still puts the critters before herself. The video shows Deanna inject herself in 3 places. She then taps her toe to confirm numbness. Once satisfied, she takes a pair of tweezers and gives the nail a gentle pull. It breaks away like the separation of Velcro. She pulls her nail completely off her toe, exposing a bloody mess of skin underneath. This is disgusting, and I have no idea how she did it. What happens next is the icing on the cake. Deanna settles down on the living room couch to vlog a summary of the events. She explains to the camera that she's freaked out, but she is going to watch TV while she waits for me to arrive. She leans forward to grab the television remote off the ottoman. When she falls back into the couch, there's a woman sitting next to her. Deanna screams, jumps to her feet, and staggers away from the couch. She turns towards the woman. Nothing is there. Startled, the dogs wander in confusion, trying to figure out what's going on. I arrive home to a brightly lit house. She gives me the rundown, illustrating with videos. I laugh incredulously as I watch a video of our game room. She claims a dark figure stood in the doorway. I see nothing. She also claims a ghost sat next to her on the couch. I play the video back and watch her scream like a lunatic for no reason. It's silly. She's angry that I don't believe her. To placate her, I stifle my laughter, listen, and nod. I don't believe in ghosts, but if you tell me you saw a ghost, I do believe that you saw a ghost. I just never thought Deanna would be the one telling me she saw a ghost, or she describes it. A shadowy figure that glows in a ghostly fashion with steam rising softly from her body. I regularly journal. The inspiration came from a Robert Rodriguez book, which ultimately led to write the filmmaking book, Rebel Without a Deal. If you're interested, it's available on Amazon. Not that this is a sales pitch. The book's subject matter has nothing to do with the events I'm recounting here. I only mention this so you don't judge me as a sissy for keeping a diary. In celebration of Friday the 13th, I decide to digitally insert a ghost into Deanna's couch video as a fun vlog treat. I called Christina from last night's networking event. She lives nearby and I know she is in between gigs. She comes over and I film her on the couch acting like a ghost. I edit her into Deanna's couch video and I even make her transparent with the ghostly mist. After Deanna gets home from work and settles in, I show her my creation. Expecting to get a laugh of approval, I totally misread the situation though. Deanna is still pissed that I don't believe she saw a ghost. I don't understand why. I mean, there is video footage showing nothing there. She insists that I should believe that there was a shadowy figure of a legless woman sitting right next to her. I chuckle again at the thought of a legless woman, responding with, "She would be easy to run from." Deanna retaliates and accuses me of something with Christina. This is absurd. So what if Christina is cute? I've been with Deanna for 30 years, and there's no reason not to trust me. Besides, I think Christina might be slow. As I mentioned before, assistant editors are unique. Some people might define them as being on the autistic spectrum. Well, Christina seems to fit that bill. What I had mistaken for inebriated behavior turns out to be special behavior. I'm not sure if Deanna believes me, but in hindsight, she might be thinking that she's with me for 30 years, so there's no reason for me not to believe her. After 10 years, the ceiling fan in our bedroom finally made its last revolution. Michael came over to help me swap the fan out and film the installation of a new one. Michael is my best friend. He's been in the vlogs before and regularly does the podcast Get Convinced with me. He is a teacher of special needs kids, but is best described as a Jesus look-alike. Michael is outside the French door gathering tools when Deanna enters the room. She broke the chain off the portrait cross and asked me to fix it. I tell her to throw the necklace out. This sets her off. She now claims she isn't an atheist. She says she was always unsure and only identified as one to appease me. I have no clue where this came from. We've been together our whole lives. There have never been any indication that she believed or that I would judge her for believing. Michael re-enters the room and cuts our conversation short. YouTube enables you to upload a video today and set the premiere for a later date and time. This allows me to finish a video in the middle of the night and upload the file, but not notify viewers of it at 2:30 in the morning when they are probably asleep. I set this video to premiere on Sunday, September 22nd to start the week, but later I discovered that I mistakenly chose October 22 instead. I understand if you're asking, what does a ceiling fan have to do with this story? Unfortunately, that will make sense soon. The pool is 98 degrees and it's a warm, sunny California day. So before winter sets in, we're having people over for an end of summer barbecue. To my delight, Deanna's friend Amy brought her 18-year-old daughter Jenna and 3 of Jenna's girlfriends to the barbecue. These bikini-clad hotties frolic around the pool and really brings on the sorority vibe. Not that I'm complaining, as it's a fine sight to see. I show a group of our friends the ghost I comped into Deanna's couch footage and they laugh. Deanna seems to have lightened up and recognizes the humor in the video. I think she might be okay with me using the footage in a vlog. My buddy Marty proposes the idea that we have a seance tonight. He is a hardcore metalhead and a die-hard horror movie geek. He even owns a company, playitbyfear.com, that sells horror paraphernalia, so it's no surprise to any of us that he suggests a seance. He assures us it is safe and fun. Deanna recoils at the idea, but Amy is on board, stifling any objection Deanna might have had. As the festivities wind down and the younger girls leave, we move the party into the house. I set up 4 cameras around the living room and have my phone attached to my 3-axis gimbal. Everybody seems up for the seance, even Deanna, but Tom is totally against it. Tom is a stand-up comedian and an actor. In 2003, I cast him in my first movie, Kisses and Caroms. He has been on numerous TV shows and most recently in the Progressive Motor commercial, Tom Loves to Joke. So I'm not sure if this anti-seance stance is just a routine. Also, Tom lost his father a few years ago, and later when Tom was under anesthesia for an operation, he claimed his dad visited him. So Tom's spiritual beliefs may have fluctuated recently. Tom and Amy get into a bit of a back and forth debating God, ghosts, and religion. I don't know if I'd call it an argument, but it is a bit heated. Just as Amy is gaining ground on Tom, Deanna shushes everyone. She hears something. I hear it too. It's a whisper. Being the man of the house, I get up to investigate. I creep down the hall towards the whisper. I can almost make the hushed noise out. I like your... is what the words sound like. I realize that everyone else stayed seated in the living room and I have no one backing me up. I'm alone in the hall. My heart is hammering out of my chest. Still, I press on down the dark corridor. The light switch is on the opposite end from me. Even if I could reach it, I don't know if I would turn it on for fear of seeming like a wimp in front of everyone. The end of the hall splits in 3 directions. To the left is another hall that leads to our other bedrooms / home offices. Straight ahead is a guest bath, and to the right is a second doorway to the game room. I freeze a few feet shy of this junction. The light switch is still a good foot out of reach. I again hear the whisper coming from the left hall. I can make the words out now. It whispers, "I like your dogs." I white knuckle my gimbal. Everything in the living room is silent. Everything is silent as I listen intently. Then with a sudden boo, Bill jumps out the right side and scares the crap out of me. I ain't gonna lie, I was frightened and momentarily believed Deanna's story. In retrospect, I feel bad for teasing her because my mind quickly entered a heightened state and I was in a house filled by people. I can only imagine how she felt alone in the dark. Still, there turned out to be a logical explanation, and it was Bill. Bill is our neighbor. He's also an actor, most famously from Comedy Central's Workaholics. Those who are fans of the show will be delighted to know that in real life, Bill is very similar to his character on Workaholics. He's strange, but he also seems to get the joke. Bill is the kind of guy in a horror movie that the girl mistakes as a creep, but turns out to be the nice guy trying to help her. After scaring the crap out of me, Bill graces us with the story. He claims that one night before we moved in, he heard noises coming from our house. He looked over the wall and saw a bunch of cops. He overheard one officer say that the guy who lived in my house, Jose, shot his wife, Patricia, in the kneecaps, then hung himself. Bill explains Jose shot her in the knee so her hobble would always remind her of that day, but instead Patricia bled out and died. In the moment, I play along with the story. It's fun and it's freaking Deanna out. Tom seems to buy into it too, asking me how I didn't know this when I bought the house. I quickly passed that off by explaining the house was a bank repossession and the bank doesn't have to disclose anything. You buy the house as is. Truth is, I'm not buying Bill's story at all. For one, how would the police know the reason Patricia was shot in the kneecaps if they arrived before she died? Would that really be her last words? Most likely Bill is playing off Deanna's ghost video. He was in the mix when I showed it earlier about joking that a lady's ghost would be easy to run from. Bill also couldn't remember the date. That seems like a pretty traumatic thing that would remain etched in your brain. Granted, we've been in this house for 10 years, so if this happened, it happened over a decade ago. But these were Bill's next door neighbors that he knew by name, so I'm not buying his story. I finished the vlog of Deanna's couch ghost and uploaded it. Since the vlog is in the Halloween spirits, I set the premiere date for October 11th. I decided to prank Deanna for a follow-up video. Over the last few days, I've teased her with Bill's story. I've been telling her the ghost of Patricia is haunting our house. Tonight, I'm going to crank it up a notch. It's 1 in the morning and Deanna is sound asleep in our bedroom. I creep in and set up a couple of cameras and a small light. Next, I open the French door. The fall temperature is about 60 degrees outside, which is a good 15 degrees cooler than the house, providing just enough of a chill to be eerie. I slide into bed and Deanna rolls over towards me, but doesn't open her eyes. I poke her head to wake her up. She groggily asks, "Why did you open the door?" "I didn't open the door." "Did you open the door?" "No, I was sleeping." I was sleeping too. I woke up and the door was open. Deanna is now at full attention, trying to suss out the situation. I rev up and breathing into a labored pace. We both gaze at the open door, waiting for something to happen. Then, boo! She jumps. I laugh. Deanna rolls away mad, but I'm not finished yet. I impersonate a decrepit woman's voice to scare her even more. I groan. I'm coming for you, Deanna. She winces and begs. Don't do that voice. It's creepy. Stop. Slowly, I inch my finger towards her face. I can feel her squirm and twitch. I tap her cheek and she explodes with a scream. I antagonize her with a belly laugh, but my celebration is stopped short by a knock at the front door. I'm confused because the driveway gate prevents people from getting to our front door. Deanna sits up as I quickly lock the French door. My phone is already recording, and rather than fumble with its light, I grab a flashlight off my end table. Deanna cowers in the comforter as I proceed towards the foyer. I peek around the corner into the hall. To my shock, the front door is wide open. Hello? I muster. Hello? No response. My heart tightens at the thought of someone in the house. I don't want to step any further in fear that a person is hiding around the corner in the living room with an axe. I contemplate grabbing Deanna and escaping out of the French door. I don't know what to do. The silence is broken by the thwack of a ball as it bounces in through the door. I jump back. My throat knots up. Who the hell threw that? What the hell is going on? I'm petrified. I can't take my eyes off the door. Our dog Pismo darts in and grabs the ball. I literally feel my throat fall to the floor and I almost collapse. But I regain my composure to put on a confident front for Deanna. Pismo doesn't seem bothered, so there can't be any danger, right? I mean, dogs are supposed to have a sixth sense about this stuff. At least that is what every movie depicts. I push the front door closed, secure the deadbolt, and set the alarm. I figured Pismo got out through the French door, ran around, found her ball, and pushed open the door. Our front door is 50 years old and never had a traditional latch. Instead, the door uses a ball catch latch, which is a ball bearing that can be easily pushed open or closed. I cut together last night's prank video. The addition of some music and sound effects really sweeten it up. I'm able to pitch shift my creepy woman's voice to sell the scare. I think it turns out pretty well. Changes with YouTube algorithms have caused video views to suffer, so I decided to premiere this one a couple weeks after the last video. That will put this closer to Halloween and give the last one a chance to rack up some eyeballs. I take the dogs for a walk, and standing in my driveway is Christina. I didn't call her, but I was asking how long she's been there. She never breaks focus on the dogs and responds, "Not long. I suppose it's possible she just arrived as I walked out." Today, her intellect really shows. She riles up the dogs yelling, chase me, come on," and keeps skipping in front of them. She acts like a child. I feel bad. She's a sweet girl and means no harm, but she is odd and annoying too. "16 security cameras and 2 DVRs were delivered today. Deanna has been against outfitting the house with cameras. She acts like they will be watching her. I think it would be great to watch the dogs and capture any spontaneous silliness that might occur to make for a good vlog video. Plus, they're a good way to combat potential stalkers like Christina. Today, I finished the security camera install. When Deanna gets home, I show off the cameras to her. She's not pleased. I anticipated this, so I present her with the repaired portate cross. I came across a broken necklace while I was running wires. One of the chain loops had split, so I gave it a quick mend. This turned out to be just what I needed to soften her stance on the cameras. Later that night, I passed out on the couch. I'm sound asleep when something slides down my forehead between my eyes and onto my nose. It feels like a feather caressing my skin, but then it settles on the bridge with pressure. It comes into focus. It's a long, dirty, brittle fingernail. The rough, frayed edges press harder, digging into the bridge. I begin to feel the collapse of my septum. The pressure causes the nail to bow, then snap. The nail breaks off. My eyes pop. I see her hovering over me. I fly off the couch and almost hit the ceiling. Deanna laughs. I bet you're glad we have video cameras now. I'm disoriented. I expected to see the owner of the dirty nail, but I quickly conclude what transpired. It was Deanna dangling a plastic spider on my face. The finger was a dream. Funny, haha. I groggily reply. You want to step up the game? It's on now. Deanna laughs it off as she heads to the bathroom. This is the night Deanna's leg is first pulled and the door slammed. I recounted that event at the beginning of the story and see no reason to copy and paste it here. After the door slammed, I try to explain to Deanna that the wind blew it shut, but she doesn't believe me. She rocks in bed and begins to pray. I've never seen her pray. I know as a kid she attended a private Christian school, but I understood that was because her mom taught at that school. This meant Deanna got to go for free and her mom could watch over her. I didn't realize the prayer had stuck. I finally set Deanna at ease by getting into bed with her to watch Friends with the lights on. At some point, she nods off, around 3 a.m. I turn the volume down and close my eyes. Deanna is finally about to leave for work. Normally, I would sleep later in the morning, but I want to touch base about last night. We briefly chat in the kitchen over coffee. She appears fine and seems to realize that last night was silly. I joke that she needs more sexy time. She responds, "Sexy time tonight? It's a date." After Deanna leaves, I pull up the security camera footage on the computer to review last night. I also watch her spider prank. It's pretty good. I fly off the couch like a scaredy cat. After getting a good laugh at myself, I take off to meet Tom for lunch. I chat with Tom about his beliefs and what Deanna might believe. I postulate, can an atheist and a zealot be married? Isn't it like a vegan and a meat eater? They're too fundamentally different to be together. Tom insists vegans and meat eaters can be together and I shouldn't compare them. He concludes with the revelation that I'm a knucklehead. I begin to wonder. Deanna is one of the smartest people I know. She even made the dean's list in college. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe there is a God. I don't verbalize these notions to Tom because I think he'll eat them up. Deanna gets home from work early for date night. We split a pizza and a bottle of Pinot Grigio. She really pounds the wine like water. After dinner, she leads me into our bedroom. I'm able to gauge that she really isn't that drunk. She's just drunk enough to do a bit of cabaret dance, but not so drunk that she falls over. After her dance, she charges me and tackles me onto our waterbed. I've got all my hands all over her as we kiss and make out. Suddenly, she loses interest in me and looks to the door like something is there. I try to get her to refocus on me. She's receptive, but a moment later she loses interest again. I explain it's just the dogs and regain her attention. A moment later, I hear something too. We both stop and gaze at the door. I can make out a whisper or possibly a grumble. Noises that can't come from the dogs. I'm about to push Deanna's half-naked body off me to investigate when crash! The ceiling fan tumbles down on us. Debris falls everywhere as we both scurry out of the way. I'm aghast. I know I securely mounted this thing to the ceiling. How could it fall? Deanna shushes me. There's something in this room. I can feel it. She insists. Suddenly, she grabs her pillows and declares she is not sleeping in here and storms down the hall. She spends the night in the spare bedroom, which is also her office. I know the fan off the waterbed and momentarily considers getting the ladder to inspect the ceiling, but decide I'm too drunk for that. Instead, I fall back into bed and spend the night alone. I decide to assemble Deanna's leg pull footage into some previously unused vlog footage. Some days I start to vlog and don't finish. Some days. Only one interesting thing happens, but it's only a small bit that doesn't end up anywhere. And now I'm going back to assemble those story bits into what I think will be an awesome Halloween vlog that can end with Deanna's leg pull.